Y'all, Jones Dairy Farm, located in Fort Atkinson, is a standout. They do premium meat manufacturing, making dry-aged bacon, naturally smoked hams and Canadian bacon, all-natural sausage, and a new no antibiotics ever chicken and pork meatballs. It's a 7th-generation family-owned and operated farm who's been making breakfast better since 1889. Learn more at jonesdairyfarm.com. That's jonesdairyfarm.com. Madison Public Library connects us to the world, to information, and to each other. September is Library Card Sign-Up Month, so it's the perfect time to get your very own Madison Public Library card. Already have a card? You can renew it this month and visit the library website for a list of 30 things you can do with your Madison Library card, one for every day of September. Visit madpl.org or stop into any Madison Public Library to get started.
Today on CityCast Madison. In November, Madison voters will decide whether or not to increase property taxes to address the city's looming multi-million-dollar budget deficit. If the ballot measure doesn't pass, city services will be facing cuts. And as part of those cuts, our libraries could see reduced hours, staff, and programs. So ahead of the election, we wanted to revisit our conversation with Madison Public Library Director Tana Elias about what you can get out of your library card. And as a quick note, the Madison Public Library is an advertiser of CityCast Madison, but this episode was first released in April 2023 and is purely editorial, which just shows we love the library even before they started paying us. It's Wednesday, September 11th. I'm executive producer Haley Sperling in for Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about.
Tana, hello.
Hello. How are you?
Doing very, very well, because I love the library.
Yay. We do too.
Not alone in that. Can you tell me what's the neatest thing you can do with your library card that maybe folks don't know about?
Oh gosh, there's so many things. One thing I would say right now, one thing that people are really excited about is that we have seed libraries in 5 of our 9 libraries. So you can go to the library and get free seeds. In reality, you don't even have to check them out. You can just take them and put them in your garden and see what grows.
So there's no need to return the seeds?
No, but you could bring us back seeds in the fall if you harvest them and have some to share.
Well, that's really, really cool, the seed program. I hadn't heard of that until recently. How long has that been going?
It started actually maybe over a decade ago, and then we stopped doing it for a while. And so a couple of years ago, we started hosting seed libraries again. It was a really fun thing to introduce during the pandemic, especially. And then we've had interest in it grow, and now we're up to 5 libraries.
And what kind of seeds are there?
Lots of different things. I think there are about 30 different kinds of seeds across the library. So all your common vegetables, tomatoes and cucumbers and zucchini and many flowers as well. We also have some pollinator seeds, so kind of wild seeds that will reintroduce pollinators into the environment. So, some nice prairie type wildflower seeds.
I love it. Actual seeds. And we think about books sometimes planting seeds.
Right.
Garden of our mind. So that's really, really neat. And, it sounds like there are probably plenty of librarians too who have some expertise in gardening. If folks have questions about the seeds or like how they work, that sort of thing, they can ask someone.
Oh, for sure. And of course, we've got lots of resources. Yeah.
Yeah. I also hear that your Madison Library card can help you get around town.
That's true. You can use your library card to get the Madison B-Cycle Pass. So we teamed up with the foundation, Madison Public Library Foundation, and B-Cycle. And B-Cycle runs, if you're not familiar with them, they run an e-bike lending program throughout the city. So typically people would have to use their credit card and check out a bike, and then they can bike around and bike to the next station and drop it off. And this partnership allows anybody to come to a Madison Public Library location, check out a free pass for the B-Cycle stations, use it all week long, check out a helmet so you're safe, and test it out. There's a lot of availability in the downtown area. We have B-Cycle stations outside our central library, our Pinney Library on the east side and our Sequoia Library on the west side. And there are stations throughout the city.
You have to be 18 for that, right?
You do. Yeah. You have
Yeah.
to sign a waiver and all those things. And so that's the typical Madison B-cycle waiver that you're signing, not anything with the library.
Well, that's really awesome. I mean, that's really spreading out into the community in different ways that I would not think about the Madison Library doing. We also did a show on genealogy recently, finding your roots. And a lot of these online databases like Ancestry.com are free through the Madison Public Library. So how do folks take advantage of that?
We have over 20 different databases that we offer, but Ancestry Library is one of the few where you have to be inside the library to use it. And so you use your library card to log in. You use a library computer. You can use the library's Wi-Fi and use a laptop in the library. And it has most of the same information that Ancestry.com subscribers have access to. So birth and death records, marriage and divorce records, in some cases like high school yearbooks and other kinds of records. It really depends on what's been digitized and what's available from county to county or state to state. But we saw during the pandemic, Ancestry Library actually reached out to libraries and offered remote access for free. You can get it for free with your library card. And then we have additional databases like Heritage Quest and newspapers from all over the world that you can use to find obituaries and do some research as well. So if you're into, finding your roots, this is a great resource.
Yeah. And so I imagine just like we could ask about for seed help, you can also ask folks about how to navigate those databases.
Absolutely. Yeah. Our staff are always willing to help you out, and there's lots of online help as well. And then we also have what we call the personal archiving lab. So once you've dug into your history, once you've dug into your history and learned a little more, you can use our tools to kind of digitize your own things. So we have things like VHS converters and cassette tape converters and ways that you can scan old photos and digitally archive those. So we have the central library has the personal archiving lab, and then we have a mini lab that goes around to different libraries.
I'm really, really excited about this. And so if you find stuff, if you're looking into your genealogy, you can digitize those things. Mm-hmm. But am I correct in thinking you could bring in like home tapes and that sort of thing and also get help with digitizing those?
Yep, absolutely. We have people who come in and they just want to update their archives. So they want to digitize photos, or they want to preserve old VHS tapes or other kinds of older technology where they have, family movies and really important records. I've used it myself for recently. I had a death in the family, and, we helped create a digital slideshow of that person's life. And so this is a way where you can come and get training and get some help and digitize your own memories.
And this personal archiving lab, the one that is permanent in one space, is at the central library, right?
That's right. Mm-hmm. The way the personal archiving lab works is we have drop-in sessions every Monday from 2 to 4. And so we ask that people who are interested come into one of these drop-in informational sessions. You get a little tour of all the equipment. You can have your questions answered. You get to work with a librarian who's used all of the tools and knows how to do them and has some good recommendations for you. And then you can come back at your convenience and reserve the equipment and use it when it's convenient for you once you've gone through that training session. And then, of course, we always have staff on hand to help you out.
Resources on resources on resources.
I know.
I also understand that you all are helpful when folks want to access things like the Wisconsin State Journal and the New York Times. Normally, if you don't have money, you're going to run into paywalls and that sort of stuff online. How can your library card help you with that?
So we have access to the New York Times. We have access to Washington Post. We have access to Wisconsin State Journal and Cap Times. And your library card gets you access to historical newspapers, contemporary newspapers, a variety of countries and languages. And
this is access to the world.
It is access to the world. And it's so important in these times, especially, to make sure that if you read about something, read about it from another perspective, read about it from the opposite perspective. If you're reading about international news, read newspapers from another country and see what they are saying about it. If you're reading about something that's happening in the Ukraine, you can read local newspapers, and you can read European newspapers for a different perspective. And I think it's so important for everybody to have the ability to really think critically and read critically. And libraries make all of these materials available so that people can do their research and really dig into the topics that interest them.
It's funny. I feel like I am one of these people that is a little nervous going into a library about making noise, shh, that sort of thing. Not that I'm advocating for going into libraries and making noise, but I am getting excited about some of the things you're sharing about. I don't know if you have any words for folks that might be nervous about, like, oh, I've got all these questions. Like, I do want help. Like, that would be great. Like, what if I go in and find out, like, any number of questions, like Ukraine. Like, I wouldn't know which newspaper to go to. Like, if I want to talk with someone, it's honestly not a burden.
That is why we are here. So any library that you go into, we have trained reference librarians who their job is to research things and help you use the tools that we have in the library. So no question is too weird or too small or too awkward or whatever. We have confidentiality that we learn about and privacy. So the questions that you ask us are confidential and private, and we are used to questions of all varieties. And I would say in 30 years of working in libraries, I've answered so many questions on so many different topics. And it's a really wonderful resource that people can come. Any question, we can help you find resources. We can refer you to other places in the city or abroad that might help if we're not able to help you with that. So anything from how do I do my taxes to, in-depth personal genealogy research, we probably have some resources for you. And I think what's really interesting about libraries is everybody comes to us with a different need, and we're able to kind of customize that experience while offering an experience that is also very common and shared of going to the library, whether it's quiet or not. And that's fine.
Yeah, and quiet can be subjective, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The library is an affordable option for printing and photocopying too, right?
It is, yeah. One of the biggest reasons that people use public libraries is for computer and internet access. And so a lot of people do have internet access, but some people don't. And so we have that service. And then along with that, we have kind of copy shop services, if you will, of printing from the computers, copying, photocopying things. We have costs that are equal or less than commercial places where you can go and get photocopies. And we're in your local neighborhood. So we're maybe a little more convenient than some of those commercial places. In addition, one thing that we don't really publicize a lot that we offer is notary service. So 3 of our libraries have a notary on staff. We would definitely encourage you to call before you come in to make sure that that staff member is working. But the Central, Alicia Ashman, and Goodman libraries have Notary Public on staff as well.
Well, so we saved my favorite for last, which is the whole digital library of ebooks and audiobooks.
Yes.
How do you access that collection?
There's a product called Libby, which is an app that you can put on your phone or your tablet, and you can use it to download books that the library has paid for in a collection that's shared throughout the whole state called the Wisconsin Digital Library. And we have, I think, 245,000 items just in the Madison collection, and had almost 1 million downloads last year. So ebooks, audiobooks, a few video, a few magazines, lots and lots of free content with your public library card. You can check it out anytime. It returns automatically when the time is up, or you can return it early. It works really similarly to the public, to the physical library, where you can put things on hold and you get notified when they come in, but they just pop into your device versus having to, walk down to your local library or drive over to your local library and pick those items up. So it's a really great collection. We've seen the use grow tremendously over the last couple years.
I'm absolutely obsessed with the Libby app. There was a good few months there where I was like, do you have the Libby app? To everyone that I know, I'm like, oh, you got to have the Libby app. Like, I scroll Libby more than I scroll Twitter or Instagram might be. But I'm totally obsessed. So I do have questions, like mainly like, how does the process work for getting new popular titles? Because those are hot and they run out.
Yep. Our librarians look at, what we want to purchase. And so obviously we would take recommendations, but they look at a variety of resources to kind of predict what we want to have a lot of copies of and what we don't. And then they also look at data, like how many holds are on a title, for example. And so we have formulas where if there are X number of holds, we will buy additional copies. And that's true of physical books as well. So if we see that there are 200 holds on a title, we'll buy more if we have the funds to do so.
That's good to know. So y'all use those holds, put those holds down.
Yeah.
You can check out 10, right? And you can do 10 holds.
That's true. Yeah.
I can't evangelize more for Libby, and I can't evangelize more for the library. All of the resources you just brought up are really beautiful, and several that I didn't even know existed. So I really appreciate you taking the time, Tana.
Well, thank you so much.
That was Tana Elias, the director of Madison Public Libraries. That's all here for today on CityCast Madison. If you enjoyed today's show, why not share this podcast with someone who loves to cuddle up with a good book? See you back here tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye!